Hope everyone able to see. Can someone confirm?
Yeah, Ravi.
Yeah. So earlier we have in the previous sessions we have automated spicejet.com, and in the previous sessions what we did is reading cities. In the reading cities, what we did, we have sent departure city, arrival city, date, and the passenger details, adult, child, infant, currency details, all the details in the class file, and then we are clicking on submit button, and I mean search button. So it is going to fetch the results. Generally, in real time, we are not going to send the details like this. I mean, um, it is very, it is not a suggestible method to pass the details like this in the class file, because whenever we want to change the input here, we need to come to the particular class file and need to change here. Okay. And most of the times whoever using this particular project, they may not have the complete coding knowledge like that, because we will be sharing all the project details to the client and they will be running in the client location. Sometimes it works like that. Okay. So they may not have all the coding knowledge, so they can't go to particular class file and they can't change each and every line there. So it should be it should be in an easy manner and suggestible manner to change all the details. Okay. So for that, we're going to pass all the details from config file. Okay. Generally, from config file, we will be sending URL details and username and password details if it is a login page. Okay. As of now, we are not automating the login page. So I'm just trying to send all those details from the config file, and I will fetch all the details from the config file. So for that, I'm going to create a new package here. Right click, go to new and package. I will name it as resources. In that resources, I'm going to select a new class, that is config reader, and click on finish. Okay. Under the resources, I want to add property file, that is go to others and select a file, click on next, and I want to give the file name, that is config.property. You should mention dot properties because it is a property file. Okay, so that it will consider as key and value pair. Okay. And then click on finish. Okay. Now, what all the details I need to pass here? Go to the reading cities and see departure city. I need it. Departure city, that is Surat. Arrival city, that is Varanasi. And coming to date picker, we should pass the month and date. Travel date, or we can keep it as departure date. Initially we should pass the month, so departure month, and that is, let's say, October. Departure date, let's say 23, and what should we pass again? And we should mention number of adults and childs and infants. Okay. Number of adults, that is 3. Number of child, that is 1. Number of infant, that is 1. Okay. And I think the other one is the currency. Let's say USD. Okay. By default, it has selected this INR. So I just want to select it as USD. Okay. And then I want to click on search button. Okay. So for anyone, even if it is a client or anyone who doesn't have the coding knowledge, it is very easy to come here into the property file and change the details like this. Okay. Instead of changing all the details here in the class file, they can easily change it here. Okay. So it is very suggestible method to have all the data in particular file. We can pass all those details from the Excel file as well. Even from the Excel file, we can just mention all the names one by one in the rows, and we can pass all those values from the Excel to our class files. Okay, that is also one of the suggestible way which we need to follow. Initially, we will see with this config file, and then we will see with the Excel file in the further sessions. We have prepared the config.properties file, and I want to read this property file and then impose those values to this readingcities.java file. Okay. So for reading this config.properties file, I'm going to code in this config.reader.java. Okay. Public thing get key value. Thing. So see here. Yeah.
What is the config properties?
Config properties we are
I'm
just okay.
Yeah, I'm just started right now to join. That's why.
Okay. Config properties earlier, I think you were following the previous sessions. If yes, we already automated this SpiceJet application, like departure city, arrival city, and departure date, and the passenger details and the currency. So earlier
Yeah.
we used to send all the details from like this in the class file itself.
Okay.
And we should not send the input values in the class files. It should be very dynamic, and if we use the particular property file, it will be very easy to mention all those details at one place and pick up all the details from property file instead of changing each and every value in the class files. Because most of the times we might not having visibility of class files like that. So if we change the property file here, it will automatically impose all the things into the .java file which you are looking for.
Okay.
Ravi, actually, generally in config properties, we will use only for global data, right?
We can send like timeout things and URL and username and password details. We can send all those things in the config.
Test scenarios related data also can be placed in config.properties, or do we need to mention
test scenarios based data? It's better to send from Excel file.
Okay.
Just for as of now we didn't discuss those Excel files things, right?
Okay. Okay. Generally, we will use config.properties for global variables, right?
Yeah, for global variables and global variables and timeouts and URL and username and password details. For all those details, you can use the config.properties.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. For mentioning environment details, picking up the specific environment, we can mention all those details in the config properties file. This is just an example, guys. You can use the any way which you want. Okay.
Yeah.
Thing is also like that, na?
Yeah. Yes. So see here, I just mentioned public string get key value and mentioning the string key here. Why it is like this? Public string. Why am I expecting string? Because I'm going to call the value. Okay, call the particular value and place it here, and it should return something here. Because if it is Surat here, it should return something when I'm calling that particular method. That's why I just added the return method instead of void. Okay. And why I just mentioned key here? Because while calling something, I should mention the key value. Because see here, for suppose I have I have created an object for this config reader. Okay, let me create an object. Okay, so for mentioning Surat value, I want to cr dot get key value of what is the key, that is departure city. Okay, so we should mention the key value here, that is departure city or arrival city, like that. And this departure city will come here, and according to this key value it will fetch the results. Okay, that's why I just mentioned the arguments here, that is string. So now I want to read this particular config.properties, and we have one file reader class. So import file reader java.io, and I just need to mention the path of this particular file. So I am selecting this file not found exception. So through this, I am going to read the config.properties file, and for properties, even for properties, I just we have a class here, so I'm just calling that class, and we should load the file which we read through file reader. Okay, see here, when I just p.load, when I just mentioned p.load, you can see the second one, right? P.load reader class. So we are reading through file reader. I'm just selecting that, and that is fr. We can mention generic exception. Return p dot get property string key. Okay, so I can select that one, and that particular key is the key which you are passing here. Am I clear with this? Initially, we are reading the file that is config.properties, and for properties, for reading particular .properties file, we have properties class. So we are just creating an object for that, and we are loading that .property file into that properties, so that we can use those get property. We have, let me show you. Yeah, see, get property, get our default object or key value. We have different kinds of things with this property file of methods. So we can use all those methods whenever we create an object for these properties. Okay. So we are just loading all those file details to the properties class reference, and then we are calling it. Okay. Now here dot get key value, that is arrival city, and here dot get key value, that is departure month, here dot get key value, that is departure date, and we should make sure this key value is matching with these things. Okay. Number of adult, number of child, here dot get key value, number of adult, here dot get key value, number of child, here dot get key value, number of infant. And that is currency. Okay. Hope I am clear. Now I will run. I just ran it. It just opened up the browser. Now it should start selecting the departure city, arrival city, all those things. No such element. Exception is there. What is that? You can see it here, Java 21. So it is unable to find this particular element. So let's check it here. what we are doing here, we just open the spicejet.com application, and then for selecting the departure city, we just need to click on this particular drop down initially so that all the values will be visible, and then we can select the values according to our selections. Okay. So it is not detecting this particular drop down to click on it. So let's see on that. Okay. So let's select this one and we will see. Okay. I'm going with the ID. So I'm just finding out that particular element and I'm trying to click on it. Anyway, these all things worked earlier. If anything changes, I mean, if those are dynamic XPaths, sometimes due to the application issues, synchronization issues, many things will be there. If it is not working, we just need to check why it is not working and need to resolve that particular thing. Okay. And for time being, I just need to mention implicit weight. Anyway, I didn't discuss about that yet. It's okay. As of now, I will increase this sleep, red dot sleep to 7 seconds. Okay. And then I'm running it. It launched the browser. Okay. Yeah. Now it is loading the application. Surat and here Varanasi. I think we just mentioned October 23rd, I think. Yeah. Okay. And now it is not reading it. And we should see why. Reading cities. Dot of no such element. See guys, no such element exception is a very common one when Selenium WebDriver goes to the particular application and it is unable to find the element which we are looking for, and it will throw no such element exception. See guys, Earlier it worked with the previous experts which we have used, but now the expert which we are looking at here is it got changed. See, the name is control group search view availability search input. Like it got changed completely. So sometimes for some of the applications, the experts will be dynamic. So we should handle it by using different experts. Or here it is very direct. By we have all these ID and names and class file, class name details, all those things. So we can use it directly. Sometimes for the Ajax applications, we might not having all those details like ID, name, and class details. So in that scenarios, we just need to write particular experts with the help of contains, all those things, and then we need to figure it out. So as of now, I have ID, all those things. So let's go with the ID. I think we have figured out with the expert, right? As it is a method in the base class. Okay. I'm going to base class. So I'm going with the expert here. So let's write the expert itself. Okay. Because I don't want to change the method again. Okay, I'm taking the ID and that is select, which I am looking for the ID. In real time, guys, instead of passing the experts like this, we can send all these experts with the help of a page object model. So what we do in the page object model is we're going to create a class file for each and every page, and we're going to mention all the web elements which are related to that particular page in one class file. Like that, we're going to handle all the web elements in different class files. Okay. I will explain this page object model after this config file reader. We'll see that today. And let's check for the currency as well. We change everything. Okay, let me run this. I just save the project and clicking on run. It's still loading the application. Yeah, it will wait for 7 seconds and then it will start selecting the departure city, arrival city, all those things. It got failed again. So why it got failed at 21. So sometimes it was like the input ID is this, and we just changed all those things, and again it is reverted to the previous one. Let's rerun this and see. Okay, now it will start selecting. Yeah, and the departure date we gave is October 23rd. We got it right. 3 adults, 1 child, and 1 infant, and it selected the USD as well. See, it is very easy to maintain all the required data from here. Okay, it failed at line number 52. What is that 52? Okay, this search button might be search button XPath might got changed. So you just need to change the XPath of this particular search button, and then it will work fine. Okay. So hope you guys understand why we use this config file. Okay. So to maintain all the values, actually this is the test data. So generally we will send the test data from through TestNG. We have few other options like data providers, all those things. If not, we can send through Excel. So we have different methods for handling all the test data. Okay. Generally for config file, why do we use config file means we will send URL and username and password details, timeouts, timeout seconds, and global values. So we will send all those details in the config.properties file. So that is the purpose of config.properties. This is just an example. I just want to showcase how we're going to read the particular config.properties file, and we're going to how do we use this in our present project. Okay. So this is one scenario, and oh, let's discuss this. I'm just taking this. See here, coming to the page object model. Today, regarding to the page object model, I will just explain what we're going to do. If time permits, I will create the page objects as well. I'm just closing all the previous sessions. Okay. See here, whenever I just load the spicejet.com application, okay, it will load this particular page. Okay, for handling all these web elements, I'm going to create a Page object model. What is this page object model? Here. So, spicejet.com. So I'm using spicejet.com. In this spicejet.com, we might be having 10 pages. I mean, in the web page. This is going to consider as one web page. And see here, when I click on member login, it will navigate to another page. So this is going to be considered as another web page, that is login page and SpiceMax. See, this is another web page and seat and meal combo. Okay, this is not working here. So like that, we might be having many number of pages for a single application. So for handling all the exports or for handling all the web elements, it will be very difficult if you are not following specific methods. Okay, so for handling all the web elements of the different web pages, we're going to follow page object model. Okay. So for handling all the web elements, we're going to use page object model. Okay. So what are we going to do in this page object model? We might be having 10 pages here. So I'm just going to create 10 classes, 10 class files. Okay. Like this and so on. Okay. And this is first class file, that is when we just load this spicejet.com, it will open booking page, right? So I can just rename it as booking page, booking.class file. And whenever I click on this member login, it will load the login page. Okay, .java. Yeah, even here as well it is .java. Okay. So here I'm going in this class file, I'm going to mention all the web elements. Okay, like yeah, like departure city and arrival city, and for date tickets and for adult, infant and child details. Okay. Here we are not going to send the values of these things. Here we are saving all the expert details or ID details. So we are just saving the web element details. Okay. Whether it is for tracking out the particular web element, we need the XPath or ID locator details, right? So we're going to handle all the locator details in this page object model. Okay. When we go to the login page, we are not going to save all the departure city, arrival city details in the login page because those are not related to the login page. Navigate to the login page here. That is member login. And here we have the different web elements. So we're going to save all the web elements which are related to the login page in this login page.java file. That is email ID, and password, is and the login button. Okay. And forgot password. Why we are going to this page object model? First, suppose you just saw what we saw means in this reading cities.java file, it got changed when we load this spicejet.com application. The complete IDs and exports, all those things got changed because it is a dynamic. Sometimes it will change, and we just need to pass the different values for each and every web element, and it is very difficult to coming to the particular class file and for changing the export details or web element details. So instead of changing it directly into the class file, we can handle all the web element details in a different class file. So we can directly go to the particular .java file and we can change it. We are just following the similar way which we did for the config.properties. Here we just created the .properties file. Instead of .properties file, we are creating .java files for handling all the web elements. Okay, hope you got my point. Okay. So let me create some package. I may not code today. Okay, I'll just explain the things. Page objects. That is booking page. And I'm going to create another class file that is login page. And for check-in, so for check-in, it is a different page again. Check-in page. See, so and here I will come and I will store all the web elements which are related to the booking page, and I will go to the check-in page. Here I will save all the web elements which are related to the check-in page, and here I will save all the web elements which are related to the login page. And when you go here we just mentioned like comments, right? Sorry, through these comments we will get to know this particular web element is related to that departure city or arrival city, like that. Okay, suppose I am not the person who have developed this particular project, and the person who developed this project is not in the organization currently. So when another fresher want to update the export details, it is very difficult to the fresher or the person who is having less experience. For them, it is very difficult to identify the specific methods and change the export details. So if we are following this page object model, we can directly navigate to the particular page, and we can check for the web elements here, and we can directly change the export or ID details in the page object model. Okay, that's why we were using page object model. Okay, that is the purpose of this page object model. If you are having any doubts, you can ask me for a minute. Nehit, is my audio clear? I just saw your comment.
Yeah, clear, sir.
Okay. So guys, any doubts regarding this page object model or config file reading? I assume it as no.
After making classes, how
Okay.
to coordinate elements in through page object model.
Okay. Do you mean how to get all those web elements into the reading cities.java file, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going to create a object and then we can call it any method which comes under that particular pages. We just need to create an object.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is page object model, guys. And today I want to go through with the concepts which are related to TestNG as well. Okay. So in the tomorrow session, practically we will see how do we use TestNG and how do we use this page object model. Okay. So this is related to the spicejet.com, that is page object model.
Hi Rajesh.
Yeah, someone?
Yeah, actually, it's a small query. Is the main advantage of this POM model?
Yeah, that is the main advantage.
Is the main advantage?
Okay. Do you want me to mention the advantages?
Yeah. What is the main advantage of this model when compared to some other who develop this in the current?
Yeah. We can easily maintain the web elements and we can complexity is very less. In most of the industries we are using, they are using this page object model because the main thing is it's just like kind of repository. If you knew this QTP, we have a repository. In that repository, we're going to save all the details. It is just kind of repository where we can save all the web element details. Mainly, we can maintain the things here by using page object model. Maintainability is good.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So coming to TestNG. Let's select the new. Yeah. What is TestNG? TestNG is an execution engine which will generate reports, HTML reports, and emailable reports, and so on. We recently got Selenium 4 as well. Till Selenium 3.141, all those versions, we have very basic reports. For this Selenium.4, 4 version, Selenium 4 version, they have updated the reports much better. But Selenium 4 is very unstable version as we are not using it. So coming to the TestNG, see here. For each and every project, we're going to mention this public static void main because JVM will consider this public static void main and it will start the execution from this main method. Okay? It will directly come to this main method and it will start executing all the things from this main method. But in the TestNG, we are not going to mention any public static void main. Okay. So how does it consider and where does it start? the execution. And why do we use this test engine? Coming to the testing, in testing we have test cases, right? And we need to execute all the test cases. Coming to let's consider one project is there. In that project, I have some 100 test cases. And I want to automate all these 100 test cases. Can we pass values dynamically while executing the test script in Selenium, like parameter? Yeah, we can. By through TestNG, we can do that. We will be passing parameters through TestNG as well. So while you can send the parameters while using TestNG. Okay, we will discuss all those things in further sessions. Yeah, it is possible through TestNG. Yeah. So for suppose I have 100 test cases and I already automate. I want to automate all those 100 test cases. Okay. So and after the execution, I need to have proper reports. How many got failed, how many got passed, and all those details I need a report. So by using TestNG, we can get all the HTML reports and emailable reports, all those things it will generate automatically through this TestNG. Okay. And we have different annotations. What are those annotations? Before suit, after suit. We're going to mention like this: at the rate after suit, at the rate before suit, at the rate before test, at the rate after test, before class, after class, before method, after method. So like that we have different kinds of annotations, and we have a couple more as well. So why do we use these annotations? And we have at the rate test. And why do we have these annotations? And why do we have before and after, before test and after test, before class and after class? And what is this test? Coming to the initially, I will let you know what is this test. And I have one class file that is booking.java or some test cases.java. In that, I'm going to mention at the rate test and public void login. This is first test case. At the rate test, public void home page verification. This is second test case. At the rate test, public void, like I can say booking page, verification of booking page, or verify booking page. We can name it as we want. Okay. So I have three test cases here. Whenever we just mention at the rate test, it will consider as a test case. So it will start executing the method from this at the rate test and at the rate test. So it will start executing from at the rate test. for this test ng, we don't require any public static void main. This @test will work like a public static void main, and it will start executing. It will start execution from these annotations. Okay. And whenever it comes to the test cases.java file, before executing this particular test, and it is going to read this test cases.java, right? So before executing this particular class file, if we mention something in before class, in the same class, we can mention like before class. Consider this annotation is also in this particular class file. Okay. Public void reading URL details. Okay. So before executing this test cases.java file, it will go to this annotation and it will execute. Okay. After completing all the test cases, before wrapping up, it will go to this after class and it will run the after class annotation. Okay. It is just like we're going to mention different things in each and every annotation, and we will make the things get done easily. Okay. As of now, just have a knowledge like for @test is going to use like if for each and every test case we're going to mention @test. Okay. And how do we set the priority? For suppose I have 100 test cases and priority test cases are like 30 test cases. Initial randomly I need to select 30 test cases which are very priority. Okay. And we can set the priority as well. Like this. Priority is 1 and here priority 2, priority 3. Okay. So like this I can mention the priorities as well for each and every test case. And for suppose like that I have 100 test cases and due to some bug in my application, developers fix that bug and I want to retest whether it is working fine or not. So I don't want to execute all those 100 test cases. Only specific 15 test cases are getting affected due to, or some 50 test cases. Okay. Some 50 test cases are getting affected through that bug. So I just want to retest all those 50 test cases. So how do you classify and let our execution engine know that these particular 50 test cases need to be executed? So for that, we're just going to mention how it is going to be, right? I'll show here priority is equal to 1 and enabled is equal to 2 or false. You just need to mention comma and then you just need to mention enabled is equal to true or false. If it is false, it is going to skip particular test. Okay. That is the reason we are going to use enabled, and we can mention the description as well for each and every test. So it will while generating the test reports, that is .html reports, it will clearly mention the description which we are going to mention in this particular test methods. Okay. So that is the purpose of test ng, and in this test ng we have assertions as well. Okay, what is assertion? Yeah.
There is one quick question.
Okay.
Yeah. In the test ng, if you don't mention the priority, how is the execution order for the test method?
Yeah,
What is the execution order if you don't mention the priority? How how the code is running on the method?
alphabetically it will go according to the test method name will be there, right? So alphabetically it will pick up the test method.
I think we can consider each method as a test case, right? And,
Yeah, if we're going to mention at the rate test means we can consider it as a single test case. If we mention at the rate test means it is one test method, that is, or we can say like test case.
thank you.
So we have assertions as well. Why do we use assertions? For suppose I just loaded the, okay, let's see. I just navigated to the Spicemax. Okay, so it just loaded the page which is retrieve booking. So I just need to know whether retrieve booking page is loaded or not. So I'm going to mention assertions here. In that assertion, we're going to mention some conditions, and we're going to check whether particular page is loaded or not. Okay, so that is the reason we're going to use assertions. And we just saw seed plus meal combo isn't working fine. Okay, and for suppose it was working fine earlier, if it is not working now, and we're just going to mention some of the web elements which comes under seed plus meal combo offer page. Whenever I just click on it, it didn't work, right? So when I just mention this assertion, it will navigate to that particular page and it will check for the condition, whether it is working fine or not, whether the conditions are met or not. If it is not met, it will fail the particular test case. Okay. And in these assertions, we have hard asset and soft asset. Okay. Why do we use hard asset and why do we use soft asset? Generally, this hard asset we're going to use for the test cases. Finally, if we want to mention any particular condition, we can mention, we can use hard asset. So if it is pass, then it will mark it as a pass. I mean, so in the last line, we're going to mention this asset dot asset true and some condition. Okay. So while executing this particular test method, it will execute all the lines and finally it will come to the asset condition and it will check for the condition. If it is getting true, it will mark this test case as pass. If it is getting failed here, I mean, if the conditions are not met here, and it will mark this kind of test case as failed. Okay. That's the reason we use assertions. And why do we use soft asset? For suppose even after this asset, I am talking about hard asset only. Even after this hard asset, I have some 4 to 5 lines of code. If it is getting failed at this particular hard asset, it is not going to read all the rest of four lines of code. Okay, it will directly stop at this particular line. But in the soft asset, even if this particular condition get failed, it will execute the complete lines of code. Okay, so that's the reason, that's the main difference between hard asset and soft asset. It is going to stop the execution at that particular line. Stop execution at that specific line. And coming to soft asset, it will continue execution even the conditions are not met. Okay. So that's the reason we use assertions as well. So in tomorrow's session, we will see this page object model and TestNG annotations. Sorry. Let me have some water.
Yeah, Ravi, can you tell me tomorrow where we used before test, after test, before class, after class, these methods?
Yeah, I will tell you why do we use all the different annotations.
Okay, okay.
Initially, we will see with the page object model, and then we will go with the TestNG tomorrow. Um, hope I am clear
Ravi,
with the TestNG concepts. Yeah,
we can integrate page object model with any kind of framework, right?
yeah, of course. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
I hope I am clear with the concepts coming to the TestNG and page object model. You will understand more when we see it practically. Hands-on is more important.
In assertions, you are telling hard asset and soft assets. Assertion and verifications, both are same, na?
Yeah, verify.
Assertions
Yes.
and
Yeah, both are same.
verification.
Yeah, verify. We can call it as verify. It's just a naming convention. Sometimes we'll call it as verify, and it's just a naming convention. We can call it in our own way. So if you have any doubts, you can ask guys, or else we'll wrap up.
Our course when completed?
We can't complete it because there are a lot of things which we need to discuss, but maybe till May 7th that I will try to continue these sessions, and then
Achha, this session only continue till 7th May.
yeah,
Okay.
because after 7th I have other things which I need to manage, and I have some other regular batches are also going on,
Okay.
so it will be
Okay. Regular batches timing is also same.
yeah, that is same 7 to 8.
Okay.
Ravi, like in script, suppose if we use assertion, then by seeing the code, how can we know that whether it's a hard asset or a soft asset?
Yeah. For TestNG, we can if it is a hard asset, we can directly call asset. And if it is soft asset, soft asset is a class. So we're going to create a object for this soft asset, and then we can call it.
Generally, we will use dot asset true or false in, we will use the condition expected and actual, right? That is,
if you are not calling, if you are not calling this soft asset, that is a hard asset. Then if you are calling soft asset class and creating an object for this soft asset, then it is a soft asset.
Okay. Yeah, Ravi, one more thing, like in a property file, first we are reading properties dot files that is in one variable, and after that we are loading into some other variable. Yeah, why do you want to use directly that variable? Why we are loading that?
Okay. What are you asking about? This P and
file reader, we are reading the data into. one variable, fr variable, right? After that, we are loading into properties file. Why can't we use directly that? See, because that file, that whatever data we have in property file, we have in that variable fr. Why do you want to load that one into again into properties?
Okay. Why are we using properties means for this file reader class we don't have the predefined methods for reading all the values. It can just read it and we need to code a lot to read all the values again. Okay. But if we go to the properties class and we have some predefined methods like dot get property, it will directly go to the key value and it will directly read the value of that particular key. So that's the reason we are creating an object for this properties and then we are using it instead of using it directly.
Can't we load that file so directly? We can set the path here. Properties, new properties here. We can set the path, right? Is there any way?
See here, p dot load. See here, it is not loading directly. We just need to load that particular file into the stream or reader or input stream, and then we can only load into the properties file. I mean properties object. That's the reason we are reading it initially in the reader and then loading it into the properties object.
Okay.
So, any more? Guys, for assignment purpose, what you can do means, let me tell you. Okay. Okay. For assignment, I will ping in the group. I will create some scenario and then I will tell you. Just try to work on that. Okay. Keep practicing, guys. So it will be easy for you to catch up with all the things. So we will wind up then for today's session. We'll meet you tomorrow. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you, Ravi.